The last time we were kind of, conversing, you were going to the Arnolds and I was at the Arnolds.
How was your experience though?
It was great in its own sense. It was different from the year before. The year before was my first time there. So this was my second time. So I knew a little bit more of what to expect. So, that's, there's a little bit more familiarity, which was nice. Really good to see, some of the just friends in the industry. This is where you catch up.
Right.
So that was good. And yeah, it was there was some differences in terms of how it was ran from last year. So, living and learning and taking all that in, I have a consulting background, so and I'm very operational focused. And so I kind of like that in the backside. Pay attention to some of that stuff. Um, I didn't get too much of a chance to hit the expo this time around. Um, yeah, yeah,
Gotcha.
so that was a little bit unfortunate, but I always have a party. I was on my stories as much as possible, letting fans and see kind of the behind the scenes stuff and backstage when we're all backstage. And yeah, it was, for me, performance wise, it was a different prep. Every prep is different. But it was a good weekend overall. Yeah.
Is like staying in touch social media wise and otherwise, is that something that is pretty normal for the industry, or is it just kind of person by person?
I think it's person by person. Um, some people are just thoroughly entertained by it and everybody. Some people, look, and they're there a little bit more strategically looking to see, what people are doing. Some people is that is the where how they connect. It's not so much text or phone or that kind of thing, but it's that. So yeah, I think it's person by person, definitely. I have my ways, like so I came before social media. So I have my love hate with it all. I have my moments, I have my times. Yeah, but it has its place for me too.
The bigger that you get, the more followers that you get, you're almost looking at yourself from like a fan's perspective or from like an outsider's perspective, and you lose a little bit of like what social media has like the possibility, I think, in a positive way to be, is that like connection and the, you know, commenting and the uplifting side and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's just a trap that I think you sometimes fall into, is this like, this isn't me. It's like a representation of me, which in a good, I think that can be also in a good way, because you don't want to be like just about social media, but also don't forget that like utilizing social media or how you utilize social media can be a big factor in like how other people see you as well.
Yeah, and I think the social media side, if someone's had a little bit of guidance to get, when getting on before just, versus those that just kind of get on, it's kind of, I think everything you do is an extension of yourself. So not that you have to be on all the time and you have to be, somebody else, but just you should be authentic, I think, in everything you do. I think there's plenty of examples out there where people aren't, and it really isn't great. um, but even if you're on social media for a persona, like that's on purpose, so I know at times I kind of have gone there and it's like, why do I even want to be on here? Or what is it that I want to be putting here? And it's been very, like, for me, it's been, it was never a start, like, clearly I'm using this for business. It's been a bit of an evolution there, trying to figure out what it's all about. But for other people, it's a little bit different. But I think, that's where a lot of people miss, or they forget, or they don't remind themselves. It's just not, it's what you said. It's really easy to kind of get sucked in and go down that rabbit hole. And then we default to that egotistical side of ourselves, which is natural. It's totally there, but it's just like the blinders go on and it's easy to kind of get, yeah, trapped, like you said. I think you always kind of have to have that level set, at least to keep yourself sane.
Right. Right.
There's some good stuff out there, but yeah, it's keeping it positive and trying to, I think, like people like us, trying to put information or ideas or thoughts out there where, and put a perspective or a framework out there to say, let's have an open conversation. um, I'm going to tangent here for a second, because it's been a long time since I've had somebody comment negatively on something, or somewhere where it was just coming from a place of They just had to say something as opposed to wanting to learn or know or anything about what it was that I was doing or said. And I had in the instant, I commented and then I retracted it because that was like my emotional self, but it was like, ooh, this is not really what it's about. And actually, I don't like, I'm open on there. It's a public profile, but I don't have to, I recognize very quickly in that moment, I don't have to accept what it is you're trying to put on my, aura here. So I just kind of I just I section that person out. It's more like I'm all for you either take 2 seconds to kind of skim through, read some things I've said, and kind of get an idea. I think you can, and then let's talk. Let's talk some intelligence or whatever. You can critique, not a problem, but critique with some information, and let's that's the kind of person I am. Comment and run away or say something like that's not okay. And then that's not okay because you're probably going to do that in real life to somebody like at a grocery store or whatever. It's just an extension of yourself. It's like you have to understand like your behavior is very important no matter where you are, what you're doing, and social media being a big part of it.
Yeah. I think it's so weird too because you have this like you're having in some ways like a conversation, right? If you're commenting back and forth with somebody, but that's also like in stone in some ways too. I mean, you could delete it, but like it's weird that you would talk to somebody in this kind of setting or face to face with somebody in those words aren't shown. Like you can't go and like look at those words again. Like you can think about what they said, but that's also not out there for everybody else to see too. So it's a weird like relationship between almost like permanency.
I argue with that one with myself all the time because I kind of want to go disclaim, 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 disclaim. Instagram is kind of for quick shout outs of stuff. But then people like latch and they go and you don't know who. And so you don't know where they're coming from or what their frame of mind is. And especially with the people that follow me, it is all over. I get all kinds of people, male, female, and in all ages. So which I love. But yeah, sometimes I go, oh, I gotta disclaim, disclaim, disclaim. And then then I've taken like an hour to write and I'm over it. But I know it's tough. I battle it all the time. Part of getting over things because you're never going to get through it. It's just always going to be there. It's humanity, and I just think part of the key is just of getting through it quicker and through the mind is trying not to attach especially when you're an emotional or feely person, trying not to attach like bring yourself into something even though it's your world or someone come into your space, just trying not to attach a piece of you to something that they've brought that's not good, like not serving, not purposeful, not positive. That's tough, but it's like trying to remember that more often than not.
Yeah, definitely.
When you're 20, you don't want to hear any of that. You're like, yeah, yeah. Now it's like, oh yeah, I wish I had paid attention to all of this. 30s would have been a little smoother.
It is challenging because like you said, it's like that's your post or page or whatever, and you feel like that's kind of like a part of you. That's like your space. And then like you said, somebody, especially on social media like Instagram or these ones where you don't have to be like strictly friends with people. Like they can just a random person in anywhere can comment or can, say anything that they want to say. Is everybody supposed to share their opinion with everybody about everything?
For me right now in terms of my little world because I've got these two kids that are exposed to it and to be honest, no, I am really struggling. I am constantly focusing on words, like words, how they put their words together, because they're saying things with tone that they're getting from YouTube, and it could be very like docile, just someone, Mr. Beast. Like, who is this guy? But, anyways, I hear it, I see it all the time. And so they could be watching something like this. but it's just it's this tone, and then they start talking this way. And this is something I've really noticed, like I'd say the last 6 to 8 months, very much so. Like I'm having to work. Like I'm having to, and I'll work because I know I know what kind of adults I want my children to be. But that conversation, like we're not even at the art of conversation. It's like, let's just conversate correctly here so that people understand.
So
And
almost,
be kind about it too. It's like if someone doesn't understand, let's rephrase. How do you do that? It's not just saying the same thing over and over. These two things are coming across a lot in the online world to the kids. So I no, I don't think it's fat. I don't think it's great at all.
I think there's
I
so
think
much
it's yeah,
argumentative stuff out there too, like strictly for the sake of being catchy and clickbaity and all that kind of stuff instead of like genuine, like let's sit down and have a conversation style of conversation. It's more of how can I trigger this person so that this clip goes viral.
exactly. Like where was the debate? I wasn't on the debate team, but where is all that? I love that. Um I like to argue. I like to have a, oh, you like this? Okay, let me argue the other side. Just because, I don't know, like intellectually, let's just see how this. I love that back and forth. There's learning in that. I don't have to own one a certain kind of opinion, but just that back and forth and let's debate. There's never an absolute. I think that's where it's people all they love that idea of absolutes, right? They that trigger, let's just get all the way there. But it's there's no such thing as the absolute. So the value is in the back and the forth and the, evolving and the opening up of everybody's, thought process in that moment, whatever we're talking about. We could be talking about different kinds of Pez, or we could be talking about world leaders. I'm really hopeful that just more people want to go about their life, their decisions, just thinking a little bit broader in terms of win-win. It's just because it doesn't matter what it is. Um, that's the only way. That's the only way to be feeling good about yourself and about others, and vice versa. It's just as opposed to I need something, while this person sacrifices.
The everything about everything is just like people think that they can just get thrown into you're that kind of person because you do this.
People make that judgment on so many levels. It's almost a habit, like unconscious thing. It's in their head before as they see things, and then they speak things. Yeah, it's I've encountered that my entire life. um, I'm really curious. I would love to know someone that's a bit younger, maybe like around, 15, 20, to see, if they've encountered anything kind of similar. Um, for me, it was still in that age of in media period. We didn't see a lot of, you saw black families, you saw white families. There was a lot of mixes, I was mixed. But you just saw it was just like two people, that kind of thing. And I say that from an ethnicity or race perspective, but it was very much like that on all kinds of levels, like all kinds of levels. Models, the type of model, or the people in magazines, or even like certain kind of athletes in certain kind of sports. It was like gymnastics. You're 15, you're over the hill. Like all kinds of stuff, right? These things where and that is still in people. And this is why I love, actually, I know it's a bit of a tangent, but getting some of the older clients, 40s, 50s, even and later, who I love to expose to this mind shift, because they'll say, what's that best exercise for abs? What's that best thing for cardio? Oh, how do I get shoulders like that? Or, oh, you can do that. I can't believe, or I get a massage therapist. I can't believe your muscle feels the way it is, but you do what you do. You're a bodybuilder. And I go, well, no, I'm an athletic body. I do, and a dancer, and a this, and a that. Well, no, I'm just me. I'm just me. And I do all this stuff. It's not the other way around.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
you're not defined by that. That's just something that you do.
Yeah, and it's in people to just go, you are, right? It's just there. So I have found that elevator discussion, what's that elevator discussion when someone says, what do you do for a living or what are you all about? Like I have found that. Now I went to business school. I was a consultant for 7 years after that, in business. I did like Tony Robbins, I've seen you, like I have constantly found it very challenging for someone like me because I kind of want to, I can and want to be, and who knows what, like who knows what, right? So I've always looked at it that way. I really like to just let people know in my confusion. Before I didn't really, I was like, ooh, I gotta hide this confusion because it wasn't professional. But now I own that confusion because I realize how many people are so unsure in the same situation. It's like, you know what? I do all this. I don't know how to explain it to you, but I don't know what I say in that moment, but it's something like that. I will own those moments that I just don't know and the ones I do. And I want to expose more people to that because too many of us get caught up in that. You are this, you are that. You must have just done, you must spend hours in the gym to look like you do. And then I say no, and then they don't believe me. Well, how are we having a conversation now? Gotta walk away.
It's pretty tough for like a even just two people to try to communicate with that. But it's hard for one person as well to be able to live with that and also be like happy in the long term because you don't always find like you don't I don't think anybody is like, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
We make it a lot harder than it is and than it has to be. We just make adulthood so complex. And because I'm going through this now, it's really as simple, and no one wants to hear it because it's so simple. And it's just, you ask yourself, were you able to learn? Like, were you able to learn from age 3 to 4 or 4 to 5? Were you able to go from a walk to a run? Did you learn how to jump that? Did you jump higher on something? If you answered even just those questions, then the answer to whatever the challenge is, or I have this like limitation, or I only know this, is not actually there. It's invisible. You've put it on yourself. I've done it. I've done it. We've all done it. We all do it and we don't even know it. But it's like it's it's starting to retrain, and it's just asking yourself that simple question. Because when you remove, because you can't argue with logic, right? Like if it's a mathematical equation, like yes, did you do this? And the answer was a clear yes versus a no. Like, then how is it any different? Content is different, but the actual action is the same.
One of the powerful things about bodybuilding is that you learn practical skills along the way of doing these steps of bodybuilding, but they're transferable to other parts of your life. And I think that that's one of the cool things about it is that you learn that you are capable of doing something else, whatever that may be.
Oh, this is exciting because now I get into like the fitness side of it. I think, when people encounter a challenge, so let's say you take the new person to fitness and they go, okay, I got to do these, 4 basic exercises or whatever. And then they have like an injury or they have a strain or something. And then it's like, oh my God, I can't do this. I don't know who's around in their world, if they have the right people that are saying whatever or not. But it's kind of like those moments for me, as when they come up, are as painful in one side, but at the same time, I've gone through them now enough to actually in that moment go, okay, we're learning. Like there's a smile on my face because what it's going to do is it's going to force me. I still have a goal. Like I still want to do something, and that goal is powerful enough to just not sit on the couch and do nothing. So what else can I do? And I have learned so many other ways of training because I've had to do something around an injury, around a strain. And you know what? I'm lucky enough to know, like I've got my skeleton over here, but I've also got my muscles over there. Like the body has a crap ton of muscles. Like it's not just 20. There's like over 600 in the body. So it's like, you know, that's where I get really excited and when people get really frustrated in their fitness journey, because I see it as like a huge opportunity for learning and those ahas, like, oh, yeah, like fitness is really about this. Yeah, I love that.
Especially fitness, I think too, because you have this like aesthetic that you're trying to get to, but there's also like a performance aspect. And I think that that in and of itself is another like balance of it.
That's what I think. Like that to me is fitness. I think people also they've got the wrong definition of fitness. They really think it's like a gym as opposed to life. Just your how does your body handle the life? Like that is the definition. People just don't go to Webster's, but that is it. um, and yeah, like it's being able to just like handle it all, being able to move. Um, oh, it just like I've been in certain situations in life where I haven't been able to move, like the flexibility decreased and stuff, and like, and it's weird. I know what people feel because I felt it, and then I know what you can feel like because I have felt that too. So, and I love to be on this other side, very much so, very much so.
And I think that's a lot of what it is like you lose that feeling in yourself. Like it's the confidence level. It's you feel less empowered. You feel like you would be willing to do anything just to get back to that point. And I think that there's so many people who've never been to that point that they don't understand how that feels. So they're
Yeah.
not willing to put in the work that it takes to get to that point.
There's also just a big kind of gap in just knowing what it takes or what it doesn't have to take to start or to get there. That's another thing I think. Yeah, there's a lot of people think they have to invest all kinds of this and that, and it's really just finding one thing that just starts, that kicks. I mean, usually that person has to find somebody to bring this into their vision because they're just in a place where they just can't see it. I mean,
I think we do a
yeah.
bad job as a society to, introduce people to that in the first place as well.
Are you looking for a supplement company that can help take your fitness game to the next level? Look no further than All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Their cutting-edge supplements are scientifically formulated to give you the edge you need in the gym and in life. Whether you're looking to build muscle, increase endurance, or boost recovery time, All Sport Pharmaceuticals has you covered. And with a wide range of products designed for people of all levels, you're sure to find the perfect supplement for your needs. So why wait? Give your body the support it deserves with All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Visit their website today to learn more and start achieving your fitness goals.
For sure. And I think it goes back to that whole idea of people just misappropriate what fitness and moving is, what the purpose is for, like in just general everyday life. And so because of that, then they haven't I keep going back to doing things on purpose. And because this became a very big linkage to me a few years back, because it just allows you to, like, when you have that in your head, it just allows you to stop wasting time, and adults do it incredibly well. And even though they like to say no, they're so busy. It's busy and productive are two different things. But yeah, I think just not having that clear definition, or that, fitness is part of your life. So therefore, what is it that you're wanting to do in your life? Like, you want to feel a certain way, you want to feel happy, you want to feel good, you want to be able to weather the storms because storms are going to happen. You want to be able to do all this stuff. You want to be able to run to that bus stop if you had to just sprint it. They're all very real things. So set your life up around that. What do you need to eat? What do you need to drink to make that happen? Because this is you put it together every single day, like your physical being. So what does it need to do? Now, one thing that I think a lot nobody's telling anybody is that we're not that smart. Our bodies are a hell of a lot smarter than all this. Like this and what we do is like a fraction of everything that's going on inside. Like, and I always say this to my kids. I say it would be so great if the insides could voice, like actually voice to like, because this can only translate so much.
Yeah.
And there's so much going on that we don't know about our bodies, and we will never know. but to give it that level of respect and just be like, hey, yes, I do need to stop drinking all that Coke because it does. Like you don't need to know it exactly, but to have a good idea of what you need to do to just live as best as you can,
Yeah.
as best a feeling as you can. It's not tons of money. It's not a gym membership. It's not like, having the best life coach in your world. It's really just about thinking about feeling yourself.
Yeah. That's interesting. You talked about how your body is really kind of smarter than your brain. And I think that your body really is like the intuition side, right? Like it's your body is kind of the thousands and thousands of years of every human who's ever lived and kind of developed, and you're here, and your brain is like the you aspect of it. And it's
Yeah.
like it's 20 years older, it's 40 years older, it's 100 years old, even when looking at your body side of it, like it's evolved over thousands of years. Like it knows what it should be doing. If you, like you said, if you just listen to it, listen to like the natural kind of needs, I guess that's really what it comes down to, the natural needs of how that it got there in the first place. And are
Yeah.
you doing the things right now? Are you currently doing the things that in if everybody within the next 1,000 years did that, would it still be functioning to the best of its ability? And I think that
Yeah.
most times that we can look at ourselves and say, there's things that we can improve on.
There's always things we can improve on. And everyone says, oh, I don't have time. Absolutely. We don't have time if it's not the priority. And so there you have to, and that's the hard bit of being an adult is you have to, because you're a kid or you have a caregiving situation, they're the ones hopefully that are challenging you on that question. But once you're not there, if you don't know enough to keep challenging yourself, like that's what you have to do.
It's even weird that we have like a word for fitness in the first place. Like that to me is like the sign that there is something else behind it, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
there should generally just be a natural push in every angle, every industry. Everything that is human that we do and that humans can do for us should automatically be health related, should have some priority of health involved. But the
Yeah.
fact that we've strayed so far from that is a sign that now we need the separate industry, the separate word that we can make up that means here's how you prioritize your health.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I agree 100%. Words are just fascinating and meaning. And I posted something recently on my story. It was just a little funny meme, but it is something that so we're talking 25, almost 30 years, I have actually had an issue with this from the beginning. And that is the word toning and it being used in the fitness realm. It's been bastardized. I will say this hands down. This is how I feel about it. The word I want gone. It's been like that since the 80s. You like unless someone's come rephrased it in the dictionary, like it wasn't a thing. There is no like it's not a thing. You don't lift 2 pound weights and tone. Those aren't the words. Those are not the scientific words. And so then you get hundreds of thousands and millions of people coming to fitness professionals. And fitness professionals, if you're out there and you're using that word, stop it, stop it. Because they'll come to you and then they'll say, I just want to tone. And then I'm like, I'm surprised I have hair left for the time I've been in this industry. So words like I now have to educate you. We're not even at fitness yet. I have to change this because you're going to fight me all the way down the chain. And that's not the kind of, it's not the life I want to live. Like I got to enjoy my work. So yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Words are really, yeah, really powerful. And I mean, yeah, give some context to them if it's, if one word just doesn't do it or someone might take it a certain way, then yes, you need some context. But yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're more important than people right now are thinking and using. You ever notice like when you sit and just observe, yeah, you have all these like your brain works at just all these speeds, right? And then the moment you have to put words around something, Like it all just, and sometimes it really needs to do that. But sometimes when you're in that, when your brain is exploding, you don't want that happening because it really restricts. And then sometimes it is negative, and then you start, the danger is when people start being in their own headspace and then start using that same language and restricting their own, like explosion that's going on. That becomes, unfortunate. That we don't want.
100%. Yeah. Do you want to also talk about what you've been doing the last couple months, getting ready for the season, and then, looking at the season as well, and kind of from your perspective and all that kind of stuff. But just in general, like how has 2023 been going for you in regards to bodybuilding?
Yeah, it's been good. The beginning of the year, like I was so still from the last year and the year before, kind of expanding and growing my base in the state. So some of that needed to happen at the beginning of the year, some of that stuff. And then we had the Arnolds, so that was like very focused because there wasn't a lot of time between the Olympias and the Arnolds to do that. And then it's really been this interesting, and I eyes wide open. I love what I do, including all the challenges and the frustrations. So it has been very much like this since March. There's been lots of everything: mental, emotional, physical, financial, all over. With the prep, I've been having some issues from the past, some pain, but this left shoulder's really been a nightmare for, it was like a year and a half. And I really was taking a step back to focus on it. So trying to really prioritize that healing, because it was really important, assessing what I need to do, what I want to do in terms of leveling up. Where are my gaps? What can I feel? Just kind of setting my sight for the year, and then some, because I do think much more beyond just a year out. But and then it was kind of Masters Olympia, right? That was the selections and everything. All that came out in April, and then so it was go time for that. And it was really good, though. We had a decent amount of time coming out of from when they did the announcements. It was about 4 months or so. Still working on this side. There's been, because I'm in fitness, I don't want to say it's because of my age, even though everyone likes to say that. Oh, you're getting older. Yeah, whatever. You won't hear that one as a lead reason from my mouth ever. But I have had I just all sorts of weird random things happen. Sprained my ankle, had some real deep bruising on my ankle and my hand. And I had at one point I wasn't too sure I was going to make masters because I was having like an issue on the inside, bone related, hip, spine, rib, something like that. And all the muscles were just kind of like anteing up. And so there were some pretty scary moments in July, and I wasn't too sure, but thankfully that's gone away. I've been working with some fabulous people. So and this goes to earlier in the conversation, as I get to some of these injuries, like I call, and I'm still trying to figure out my team in Tampa area, but calling on certain kind of people, because it's more than just me that gets to a stage. So helping me manage all of these and get through them, but get through them really healthy. And yeah, I'm feeling in a good position right now. Physically, I'm feeling strong. I mean, we're just going to Romania for the Masters. I've been able to, even amongst some of this, up and down physically, I've had some good strength gains in some of my body parts through this last couple of months of development. And I've got some good muscle still. Did not really lose anything. So I'm super happy about that. A lot of people think you can't gain muscle when you get older. Yes. And it can be done the right way, like lifting properly. And we had a little bit of a change kind of in some of my performance concepts. But all these things, we've just been weathering them well. I'm feeling, strong. I was able to start my eating on time. So I haven't been too overtrained I'm really happy about that. And in the last couple of weeks, I've been able to kind of step out of my own path and conquer a fear that I had, that I was just, goes back to everything we've been talking about. I've just been standing in I realized it was just me. I was the problem. And it was like a 20 plus fear. And I just got out of my way and called in the right people and did it. So I'm excited to show that next week. That's really, that kind of stuff is super empowering. So I'm feeling really good and energized, and hopefully it's a really good outcome. Really, at the end of the day, my focus for Romania is to I'm out to entertain. I want this body feeling good. I want to perform the routine. That's what my division is very much about, and I have to enjoy it. That's it.
Some of the stuff that you talked about with your injuries, is that stuff that you've incorporated now into like maintenance stuff?
Some of my movements, I call them prehab just because I don't want the injury.
Right. So have you kind of incorporated more of that prehab and more of that maintenance as well into your routine?
Yes, very much so. I've wanted to make sure that the things that I have injured are as stable as I can get them. And if I don't feel good or comfortable in it, like that move doesn't go, or like I change something, 100%. I'm only willing to take something like based on adrenaline kicking in so far, like it's a bit of a, like, that's how I gamble. It's not a huge gamble, but because it is my body at the end of the day, I'm not looking to retire. Right. So yeah. But I do incorporate all that kind of stuff. A lot of my actual training, I haven't been able to post a lot of, like lat row or lat pull downs and rows and leg extensions and all that kind of gym stuff, because that's really not what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. I've really just been making sure, like I've been doing a lot of band work. I've been doing that kind of joint stabilization. So without over fatiguing things, and then just really making sure, like I do all the stuff that nobody wants to do, and that's the stuff that keeps me getting better. That's the stuff that I keep telling people. So with my ankle, I'm doing like, a flexion 100 plus times a day, like a day. Oh. And it works. You think, oh, it's overkill. No, it actually is the complete opposite. It just keeps, the blood flowing, and whatever it does, it keeps the science going in these little spots, so that the whole chain can just be working.
And that kind of stuff, is that stuff that, looking back, do you think that you would have benefited from more of that? Or do you just think that you're at a place now where you're benefiting from more of it now because of where you are?
I would have benefited from it earlier, 100%, 100%. Yeah. I think my training for my body, and everybody's body is different. And I've always been open to different styles of training, because that's how this body was made. I mean, I grew up dancing competitively, I swam competitively, and then I did a bunch of sports recreationally, like tons. And so I can see how things help. And so one of the things that I've learned from before is fitness, you're always practicing, and when you're depleting, you just get, usually for me, it's a hamstring or hip flexor tweak. That's like all the time. So this time around, I was like, all right, I'm gonna start getting my agility back in the pool months ahead of time, because I know that it's an option then, should I have to go in there, take some weight off, pressure off my body, because that all happens at this stage. And or like just not put so much pressure on something because I've got that injury. The pool is a really great option, but you can't do that, for the very first time 2 weeks before a show, because then you'll hurt yourself as well. So yeah, it's a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit more. I 100% wish I was doing more of this earlier.
And you mentioned kind of being able to throw something out if it's just not working for you and putting something else in there. What is the timeline on that though? Is it like 2 weeks out I can do that, or 1 week, or 4 weeks, or show day I can do that? Like what is your comfortability with that?
For me, it'll be show day. For the Olympias in December last year, I ended up getting so sick. I got to Vegas, and then 2 days later, I was so sick. And I was doing I had learned how to do a back tuck. Like, I'm not a gymnast, so I had learned how to do a back tuck, and I was so excited about this thing. But it was the kind of thing where even just breathing was like I'd want to cough. I feel a lot of us as athletes, especially when you get to the Olympia level, like something has to be really wrong with you to not perform. Like you gotta be, because most of us will go out there and perform with some sort of crazy, issue or injury that nobody has an idea of. So I went and did that, and I was coughing on stage in the middle of some things. There was one point where you just get hyped up, right? I talk, like, not talk, but sometimes I'm in the moment, right? And I feel the energy or the music, and I'm like, yeah, and I actually say that. So I did that because I was in this moment before I did the tuck, and I was like, oh, like in my head, that's what's going on. And so I was like, oh, I can't do any of that stuff for the rest of this routine. And yeah, so there were a couple of moves, 100% I ended up having to, in the moment, not do or take out, or just because I was like, there's no point in doing it half-assed at that level. No, it's just not okay. And thankfully, most people didn't even recognize. There's one person that I know has a very sharp eye, and I asked them, "Did you see me coughing?" Yeah, but like nobody else did.
Not in the moment, because I think in the moment it's probably a lot more emotional, but afterwards, like, how do you feel? How do you recover from, like, we got here, but we didn't truly get to, like, really be here?
Yes, that's a great question. And you have to, I think, you have to carve a moment in time out for yourself afterwards. And it's got to be sometime, ideally within that first week, ideally the first couple of days, but ideally within that first week. And that's really important, whether you journal or not journal, whether it's, you got to do it, and you got to just reflect. Because if you don't, your different parts of yourself can take you in different places uncontrollably. So for me, like, I have to go back, and I've been doing this with almost every show for quite a long time. I usually, on the plane back, I've got my notebook out, and I start writing, what went well, what didn't go well, and I just laundry list all kinds of things, not just the performance, but like from when I got there, or even some stuff before, maybe, till that moment. And and that's really important. And there's something else I'm going to go to in a second, but on that one, that's really important, because it, it no matter what my emotion is in the moment, in my right mind, and I'm assuming we're all pretty, I'm assuming, I shouldn't, but in your right mind, you know that you're sure, you're comfortable, you're logical, let's say you're rational, right? But in that emotional moment, you can't see any of that. And all those emotions can overtake and become all of this. You just bring all this other stuff into your world. So that taking that time at the end really can clarify in your right mind, okay, this list is longer than this list. So that's the first set, because usually that is what will happen. Your list of good things will be longer than bad things, and I welcome anyone to start with the list of bad things. Go ahead, go through and make it as long as you possibly can. Then just do the other side. I'm guaranteeing that the other side is going to be bigger. But then there is part of that, because you're naturally going to look at these words and things that you've written down, and then you're going to start thinking about all those what didn't, right? And then from that, things are going to happen. And you're going to get stimulated. You're going to get, oh yeah, I am still angry here. And you're going to go, I need to improve that. That wasn't solid, or whatever it was. Or, you know what? This was a distraction. I need to figure out how to not how to not have that happen next time, because I actually realized that didn't help here. Like, so you start taking those bads and you're like, because you finally got it out. So now your brain can think past that, but you got to get it out, right? I don't welcome people to like keep it all in and bottled in. That's definitely like a way of thinking, and I think a lot of people were taught. It just has never served me well. um, and like I now know how to. It's like this is how you process it, right? So that's one of the things. The other thing I think that is important as well is we can as athletes, and especially at that level, like some major event where yeah, you don't know if you're going to get there again. I think the whole time is at some points you need to remind yourself, you need to say like, yes, this is my focus, but my life is. And you might not be able to like put words around it, but as long as you can see it, because if all you're seeing is okay, this is the competition, and to be an amazing athlete, yes, you do need to go, just like to be an amazing, you know, I don't know, all those other things. You need to like, you need to go down, like be in that tunnel vision. But at the same time, you have to just also be aware that there is all this. And it's that's where the danger is if people don't see a life outside of that, right?
Right.
It definitely happens. Definitely happens. But it's very important to, it's a hard question to ask, but it's one that has to be asked. My brother's a psychologist and he's asked me that from time to time. And I just like, and then I go, and I'm older and I'm like, don't tell me what to do. But I think about it and he challenges me and I'm like, you're right. I'm having a moment of unclarity.
This podcast is sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to give back to those in need. Don't forget to use code TWR10 for a 10% discount at checkout. Looking for a supplement company that's as serious about your fitness goals as you are? All Sport Pharmaceuticals is here to help. Their top-of-the-line supplements are designed to help you get the most out of every workout with ingredients that have been scientifically proven to enhance performance and recovery. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just starting out on your fitness journey, All Sport Pharmaceuticals has the perfect supplements to help you achieve your goals. Plus, with their commitment to quality and safety, you can trust that you're getting a product that's both effective and reliable. So what are you waiting for? Take your fitness game to the next level with All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Visit the website today to learn more.
The fact that we even live in a time period in this world where human beings, that we can play a sport or we can be involved in bodybuilding or we can have a career that we want to have or any of those things or things that we get to do.
That's right. And life is just a bunch of choices. And ideally, you try to get yourself in a position where you have the capability to make more and more of your own choices. But yeah, that's especially in the world of bodybuilding, that's what we're doing. No one has to do this. Nobody. Nobody, like from a competitive standpoint, right? And then the competitive side, yeah, we all are competitive. We all want to win 100%. This isn't, I think, for the bodybuilder that gets caught up in the emotional side of, oh my God, I didn't win. You see that a lot on the men's side, or they didn't get that placing. Like it's like it's just you and what you've done. You can't control anybody. We are a subjective sport. We're not crossing a finish line here, like a race. It's not timed, that's not what it is. So right off the bat, we all got to know that. People that get that muddled at this level, especially, that's a little bit, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of thought. This is a given. We're in this sport. And we choose to be here. And so my big thing is like, you got to enjoy the journey. It's such a cliche sentence. I know. I love cliches. In the beginning, like when you're in like a certain period of life, and it's not even a certain age, certain periods of your life, you're like, oh, those cliches. But it's just because you're looking at it over here. When you're over here, they work. And it is, you got to enjoy the journey. That's why I'm able to get over my frustration, like the suck and the injuries and the pain, like the crankiness. Well, like that will get, that does its thing. But mentally, I welcome it because it's temporary. It's all part of it. I chose to do it. I want to get injured doing something, not sneezing, like, and trust me, there are millions of people out there, millions that have been injured from sneezing. So, like, you got to enjoy the journey, the whole thing. And I said this to one girl. Well, I say this to a couple people. Those photos at the end, forget about what your placing was and everything like that, but all those photos at the beginning and your round one and your round two, and when you're at the back of the stage and you're looking at other people that are competing, and you're caught, and or if you won, if you didn't win, if you didn't get that placing, whatever, all that stuff, it's all your journey. And again, it goes back to the beginning. It's all how your brand is on you handling life, right? It's an extension of you. Like, okay, are you happy for the other person that won? You should be. Why do we have to be unhappy? Like, so when people kind of get in that, oh my God, I didn't get this, I didn't get this, I didn't get this, it's kind of like you weren't coming to this party with the right outfit on. You really weren't. This, like I say, before I used to say my peak week is like, I'm into it. Like, that's it. It's not the competition day, it's peak week. That's changed for me. It's now 2 weeks out for me. 2 weeks out is my party. 2 weeks out, it's my party. And it's like the packing, all that up with the stress of the packing, like the last little appointments, the getting, maybe the kids quarterbacked or something. It's like, it's the dress rehearsal. It's like, does the costume fit? Do we need a tweak? Am I packing, needle and thread? Whatever it is, it's the party. This is it. We are at the event. Like, the training and everything, all that work has been done. We're just like, you should really just be, all that should be on autopilot. 10 o'clock, I gotta eat, great. Gotta drink this water, great. Okay. But all the other stuff is like, let's enjoy it. We're getting to stage, right? And if you just take that 2 seconds that those 2 minutes, those 5 minutes, and then you don't get what you want, and then that muddles your entire experience, and that one little bit, whatever, that wasn't in your control to begin with, like that now takes your entire party like down the tubes. Such a waste of time.
That's certainly a very broad, way to think about it. And when you're talking about the competition side of it, it made me think. I was watching this thing about George Lucas, the guy that created Star Wars. He was talking about the people that he surrounded himself with, the other like movie makers and things like that. And this guy was like, are you competing with him? And he was like, I'm competing with him from a sense of like, we're all together and we're all trying to make each other better, but we're not trying to compete in regards to like, I want that person to lose, or I want that person to, fail on this project or whatever. It's more of like everybody's competing in regards to holding each other accountable, pushing the limits a little bit more, and just seeing what everybody is capable of.
Yep. And I think in our women's fitness, we're super tight knit group, but I think it's very important for a group like us, because we're not only just battling what we do, but then it's that, oh, what are women capable of? And what are women not capable of? And then how women see themselves and what they aren't able to do, or what they think they aren't, that kind of thing. So there's like how we influence just women in general in their bodies, right? And just changing some of that perception. And we have to too. I love also, if there weren't any other competitors, we wouldn't have a show. I would just be charging tickets for like a performance, not a competition. Right. But you need those competitors exactly to level up. Everyone comes at something differently, and then how somebody does something on their body could look different from how you do it on yours, and that's the good thing. It can be a good thing.
Right. No, I think if you look at it from that perspective, then it definitely is a good thing. But you mentioned that you're somebody who has like this bigger vision, this grander kind of plan about things. It's not just about this show or this year. So what are there, coming up in the next 2, 3, 5 years for you? If you can, share anything like that with us, that would be really interesting to know.
Yeah. Well, look, like on the I'm looking to, just continue to expand my brand as Tamara Vahn, out there to the right kind of people. And deepening my roots in the states, so between the states and Canada, definitely focusing on that. There's some little, some I say little, there's some big things with immigration, but whatever. um so there's a process there, that's a bit long term. And then so physically, skill wise, there is some stuff. I have things on my list, that are, I just haven't achieved them because of either I just don't have, I've had the injury, or I just don't have the range yet, or something like that. But they've been there. I've got even new ones. I put a new one on my list actually like 2 weeks ago. Um, and they're just bigger and better things. There are things that I think that are me as I evolve in this sport and how I want my evolution and what I bring to evolve. So there's a couple of big skills there. They're kind of like combination-y type of things, not straight gymnastics, straight dance or something. Um, there is a routine concept. I have a performance concept. I may have mentioned it the last time because it's been in my brain for about a decade. It needs the right kind of stage. It needs the right kind of everything, investment, costuming. Like it's just a next level idea. It is all me and the people that know me. But it can't just, it needs the right kind of thing. So when it will be a thing. I like to make events out of events. So like, it's just fun. Um, yeah. And then aside from, that and just kind of, and growing the business, and then raising my two little kids to be, ultimate little powerhouse champions. And but I get one friend asked me, how much longer do you see yourself competing? I love it. He always challenges me on this question. And for a while I was giving my regular answer. At the moment, I mean, I am in the United States to be a professional athlete. But I just added on like 5 extra years to that time. So yeah, I'm not looking for any kind of like, I want to be the competitor that is the oldest in this and the this and this. I just want to, I'm just looking to continue. I'm not looking to retire. I will be doing what I do 100% in fitness. I've always known this. I will compete as long as I possibly can in bodybuilding until I compete in something else. But I'm not retiring. And if people are, welcome to have me still coaching them at 125, that's what I'll be doing, because that's my plan.
There you go.
I'm looking to see three digits. I'm looking to see three digits.
No, I think that that's very exciting.
I've noticed, like, for me, I am not really driven like by the thing, acquiring the thing. It's nice to have things 100%, but it's not like that is the driver. So when I see my vision, it's more about, I see just my ability and my capability to handle continuing to level up in all aspects of my life. I don't know what that is. Like, and no, like, I shouldn't be able to put something on it because that's almost putting a ceiling on it. But I just want to be able to 100% be capable and continue to handle it. What I don't want to get is to a spot where I can't handle a new opportunity or something positive or exciting that comes to me. I don't want to say like I can't handle, like I don't want to get to the point where I can't, handle everything. It's more like I want to be able to, even when I'm at my capacity, still be able to believe that I have the capability to grow into accepting these other positive things that will still continue here. I don't want to put a oh, I got to have like this size of house or whatever. No, it'll be what makes me happy is that moment. It's that win-win thing. It's that person. I don't know what those are, but it's what makes me happy is my connections with others and in my environment. So I just want to keep making sure I'm in a position to do that. And there's some real things, making sure, like making sure the banking is right, like the credit, like making sure these pieces are like there. And you always got to work on that. But then everything else just to go. It's just having the capability, just the ability. Awesome. And then being like what keep talking about is being sure and being confident. You don't have to know that it's going to work out. You don't have to have that end answer, but just to own that. Yeah, I made a choice, regardless.
Yeah, choosing to having control and making that choice yourself instead of having your previous 8, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of choices making the choice for you now. It was really great getting to talk to you again. I appreciate you coming on and updating us with what's going on with you, and it's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, I'm it was great. Thank you for having me on. I love to, we like to chat, and I think last time too we were in all kinds of tangents and stuff, but I love it. It's great. It's where keep things open and learning about both of our environments and where both of our heads are sometimes.
Yeah.
I've learned stuff from other guests you've had on the podcast. And that's the thing, it's just there's always something you can do and you can try. Like we always run into an experience or a challenge or something we don't like. And then someone just introduces us with another way of looking at it, and all of a sudden we like it, or we can do it, or it just takes that barrier off of our head. So no, it's these discussions are incredibly valuable, and more people need to be exposed to all of this. And I think we all have some pretty great things to say. People got to know, take what you need and take how and what you need. And because the moment is just going to be different. You now is going to be different from you 6 months and 2 years. And
right. 100%. Yeah. Before we head out though, if you want to share your socials or where people can find you, you can do that.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone can find me pretty much at Tamara Vahn. So it's TAMARAVAHN on any of my socials is pretty much how I come up. And I'll be in Romania. I'll be touting lots of stuff on my stories on Instagram. That'll be probably the main thing that I'll be doing on that. YouTube will be coming. I've got loads of content. I just need people to but I got tons. Like you don't even want it. You'll be sick of it all. But that is coming. And then I should definitely do, because I don't get to stage on my own. I have some amazing sponsors, and that is Stone by Tanya, and I've got KHP designing. So Stone by Tanya is my bikini, KHP do my routine, body mass composition testing. They make sure we're working intellectually on all kinds of levels. I've got Move Calisthenics and Gymnastics. They provide me with a beautiful space that I can just be me in. It's pretty amazing. And Kara Worth, Symmetry Spine, and she's just my voodoo artist right now. She's just kind of come in, and it's just absolutely fabulous. And one of the newest people on my team that I'm just gonna be feeling like a goddess is All That Glitters Gems. All That Glitters Gems. Oh my! The pageantry side of the fitness of the work we do, because as fitness girls, you're in running shoes, you're sweating all the time, and you're in long sleeve shirts, and so I love the fact that I'm going to be glammed up by them. So it's special, and it makes it extra fun.
Well, best of luck, in Romania. It's going to be very exciting to see how things play out there, and I'm sure you're definitely looking forward to that.
I am. Tea party is coming.
If you're tired of searching for a coach or trainer, somebody who knows what they're talking about and has experience, make sure you go check out the new Coach's Corner on weightroompodcast.com. You can find quality, qualified coaches to help you achieve your goals, whether that's in bodybuilding or just general fitness. Stop wasting time and start achieving your goals today. The link to the Coach's Corner is down in the description below.